Hey guys, we're going to start recording some instructionals. Basically, going to break down roles between students or myself and students or friends, so on and so forth. So, anyways, I recorded a couple roles tonight, and this one is between Domingo, a good friend and student of mine, very talented blue belt, and just going to break down some little details to try to help you out with your game. So, we'll go ahead and start the video here. Dom has really good pressure. I'm going to go ahead and pause it already. Dom has really good pressure, so you'll notice I immediately put my feet in his hips to keep him away because his hips can cause so much pressure they can end up pinning my knee to the mat. So that's one thing I don't want. So my feet actually help keep him away. So we'll continue on here. Now one thing I noticed with Dom, he's really apt to that balloon sweep. So if we rewind it just a little bit, you can see that he immediately defended by driving his weight out that way. So I'll play a little spider to De La Hiva for a second. And I got that De La Hiva hook in for a reason. I feel him committing his weight that way, right? And he's got that knee up. So the minute his weight is committed that way and it starts to come back into me, he's going to be able to go diagonally that way. So watch. As he drives in, there it was. See, he drove in that way. Now his hips are on me. So I've become basically the fulcrum, and he is the lever here, right? See how that works? He's a lever. So I'm just going to tip him on over the other way. So drive him over, boom. His hips hit the mat. So here you'll see I got a little bit stubborn. I hooked this foot here. I've got his hips pinned. And I'm going to float this leg here. I'm going to float it in this general area right here. Right? There's not much other place that I can put it. But I'm baiting him here because I want to get underneath his hips to get his back. There's a counter where I can just sit up to mount if he glues his hips down like he's done. But I'm baiting him with my foot here to hope that he'll grab the toe hold because there's a counter where I can pull this leg out, come up and armbar him. But if he commits to the toe hold, he's likely to lean that way, this way, which will allow me to come underneath his hips and take his back. As we move on though, he never takes the bait. He keeps his hips glued to the mat pretty well. One thing he could have done here is pushed this leg out that way and walked his hips back, both still keeping him down. He would have been all right. Anyways, I decided just to come up to mount. So one thing I want to talk about here too is he's trying to trap my arm. So rather than letting him trap this arm, I commit all of my weight over this way while squeezing my knees here. And what that does is when you commit your weight over here in this general area, even though the mount is right here, right, all of my weight goes this way. So since I'm counterweighted, it's going to be very difficult for him to roll me that way. And all of my posting is over here. So it works just like I was generally a mount. So I start working my mount up a little bit higher, trying to attack. A high mount is the equivalent of a high guard. Anytime all my limbs are up high in this general area, it's going to be very difficult for him to defend because it's really 4-on-2. His legs are now out of play, and it's all 4 of my limbs versus his 2. So he has to defend not only his 2 arms, but also his neck. So I've got his arm trapped there. Looks like I was looking for like a knife choke. Looking for the back just a little bit. And then you notice I tried to trap that arm. I was planning to step over for a possible triangle. And he tried to push my leg in a half guard, and I just ended up flicking it back over to side control to prevent getting caught in half guard. Now, aborted the mount, gone back to side control. He was staying really tight with the mount, and I felt if I went for something I was going to lose position. So to maintain top position, I just went back to side control, worked my knee on belly, and he makes a mistake coming up here. The camera gets turned over. Sorry about that. But I threatened his arm here for a quick second, but he made a mistake in that far arm over there. He brought it across, which allowed me to set up the arm triangle. So I get tight, and you'll watch I grapevine my legs here to fake the finish from mount so that I was able to swing that leg back over. So let's go back there for a second. Let's watch that in slow-mo. So I fake it. Let's see if I can break it down quarter speed. There we go. Fake it here, and then I'm going for the sub. If I get it, great. Keeping my head down, right? His arm's driven across. Now watch me flick this leg over. take it that way. Yep, and I hide it over there on his foot so I don't get caught in half guard. And immediately you're going to start dropping my hips. Now Dom's doing a pretty good job right here of pushing me away. That's generally what you want to do. However, there's a lot of different ways he can get out, but this arm would be better used if he was actually pushing that one away, right? So he could try and talk on the phone here and actually push his own elbow away to buy him a little bit of time. Ideally, if he was able, he could extend this arm, bring this leg up, and connect his hands in between to relieve the pressure right here. So let's pick it back up in full speed. End up getting the arm triangle. Keep my head down. His arm is straight right here, which if he really bridged up, he might be able to circle it around. But my head was pretty far down. Ideally, he would have talked on the phone right here to help buy him some time. But Domingo has some elbow. I don't know if it's that elbow or that elbow. He's got one bad elbow. Maybe it's that bad elbow, which makes me a bad training partner. Anyways, keep my head down, and I bring my knee up on the stomach right there, but eventually trying to get it to the floater rib, which I learned from my professor, to make it even that much more tighter. And then if I don't get it by keeping my hips flat, which I generally like to finish it like that, just with framework, I'll bring my weight up and drive in. You'll see a lot of guys, they'll come up on their toes in this area over here. They'll put their toes on the mat and drive it forward into the neck, and driving the head into the neck that way, making it that much tighter. Working that knee on up, end up getting the tap. So anyways, breaking that roll down, trying to point out all the little nuances of what's going on. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks.